than 20 years, the journey that Nigel and a few other brave and determined men and women started has now snowballed into the party that we see today. Finally, we have a date that we hope will forevermore be known as UK Independence Day. June the 23rd. We only have 16 weeks to go. 16 weeks in which we must be united. 16 weeks in which we must give every last ounce of effort. 16 weeks to change the course of history for good. If you are ever going to deliver a leaflet in your life, if you are ever going to knock on a door, if you are ever going to donate to a cause, this, my friends, is the time. It will be no solace to think of things we could or should have done the day after the referendum, knowing that we could have done more and didn't. It will be no solace to think, remember, the only thing needed for bad to triumph is for good people to do nothing. Let's make sure that each of us can look in the mirror and say truthfully that we did our all. I am convinced that we can win this referendum. When push comes to shove, the great British people always make the right decision. I remember wondering how we would ever get a referendum in the first place. It always seemed like, to quote from the man of La Mancha, to dream the impossible dream. But we are a nation of dreamers. We are a nation of men and women who have never been afraid of the dark, nor the unknown. We are a nation of pioneers in politics and democracy. And we in UKIP are leading that battle now. It amazes me that a British Prime Minister, along with the establishment, are now saying to us that a vote for Brexit is a leap into the dark, a leap into the unknown. What we should stick with, the status quo. And we must vote to stay in our comfortable malaise. That somehow certainty is being ruled from abroad with no control on the laws that govern us, with no say on who can come into our country, with no say on how we farm or fish, and no say on who becomes the next member state of the EU, with no say on the very things that affect our daily lives. With an escalating migrant crisis and with another Eurozone disaster on the horizon, how is that certainty? This is bizarre. Thank heavens these people were not in charge throughout our history. They do not know that as a people, we have always taken brave leaps. That's who we are. That's our character. It's in our DNA. Thank heavens Captain James Cook didn't heed any advice not to take his great voyage of discovery because it was a leap into the dark. Brunel, don't make an ocean-going ship out of metal. Are you crazy? That's a leap into the dark. Edward Jenner, injecting cowpox into healthy people. What madness. Scott, Hudson, Drake, Livingstone, Riley, all helped shape the modern world we live in today by taking giant leaps into the dark. I think we can see a pattern developing here. We are a people that have always taken brave leaps, because if you do not do that, the only alternative is going backwards. There is no standing still in this world. Either we are developing, progressing, innovating, and discovering, or we are falling behind those nations who are not afraid of change and improvement. Well, we all know, don't we, that the EU has stagnated while the rest of the world has grown and grown. Is our Prime Minister really saying, be afraid? Fear progress? Fear standing on your own 2 feet and fear innovation? We all know that the inners think that we are not good enough, that we cannot make our own laws and we cannot trade with the whole world on our terms, that we need to be governed from Brussels in order to keep our nation secure and save our jobs. What madness. The EU's borderless dystopia is a terrorist dream. Put a Kalashnikov in the boot of your car and drive halfway across Europe without being stopped and commit mass murder in any capital city you choose. So much for EU protection. And the jobs lie. The 3 million jobs lie. What must we do to finally kill that myth? On Anglesey, the biggest employer, Anglesey Aluminium, was forced to close down in 2013 with a loss of hundreds of highly paid jobs because of EU legislation. Tata Steel here in Port Talbot has laid off thousands of jobs in what is the last major manufacturing industry. Once gone, all 9 of Wales' big metal ore refineries would have been destroyed just since 2007. Once that furnace is turned off, it will never be turned on again. And why? Because in 1975, we gave away the right to stop foreign nations from dumping cheap products onto our market. So with the perfect storm of EU environmental directives pushing up energy costs beyond all reason, EU directives stopping the state from stepping in to help, and EU doing nothing to stop Chinese dumping of cheap steel onto our markets, we can see that Brussels really thinks about Wales, Welsh industry, and Welsh jobs. They don't give a damn. This madness has to come to an end. The good news is that it can end, and it will, if we take that leap of faith on the 23rd of June and vote to leave the EU. This is not a leap into the dark, really. It's a leap into the light, because it's actually a leap of faith, faith in our people, faith in our own abilities, in the fact that as a nation we have time after time risen admirably to whatever the world can throw at us, and we will again. The good news is that right here in Wales, there are enough sensible people out there who want a future of freedom, a future of democracy, a future where Britons can once again forge our own destiny. We can bring back the 75% of laws that faceless bureaucrats in Brussels are making. From farming, fishing and employment, energy, business and trade, a whole host of laws that would end up right where they belong, here in Wales, written for the people of Wales, by the people of Wales, and for the people of Wales to democratically vote on. Now that's what I call real devolution. When we leave the EU, we will claim back the 200-mile fishing zone around Wales and devolve it to the Assembly. Think of the revenue that could bring to our country. We can help our farmers farm in the way that they have for centuries and make our produce, some of the best in the world. We can protect our industries, tap into our wealth of natural resources and put power back into the hands of the people. To paraphrase our great Welsh poet Dylan Thomas, we as a nation will not go gently into that good night. Or gently into anonymity as part of an EU superstate. This is the land of Keats and Wordsworth, Tennyson and Shakespeare, Dickens, Austen, Chaucer and Tolkien, Lennon and McCartney, Drake and Rowley, Faraday, Dyson, Babbage, Crick, Brunel, Darwin, Newton, Nelson, Cromwell, Shackleton, Pankhurst, Hawking, Wilberforce, Whittle, Bevan, Bader, Nightingale, Scott, Elgar, Lloyd George, Churchill, and Farage. have become a nation of lions led by donkeys. At this our moment of greatest need, let us have faith that the people of our land will rise to the task and vote to leave the EU. We will arm them with knowledge and show them courage and belief in a brighter tomorrow. The latest opinion polls here in Wales show that we, the Brexiteers, are in the lead. Let's keep that momentum going. Let's keep that momentum going, and as a brave, a proud nation with self-belief and courage, Wales will vote to leave the EU. Thank you.